Chinese and American motorhomes are vastly different, and there are 5 factors that determine how a motorhome looks, feels, and performs. But none of them matter if the 6th factor isn't taken into consideration. That's why it all starts with size, and men know this too well. Size matters. If you think bigger is better, you've probably never tried driving a 45-foot RV through downtown Shanghai. Because in America, a motorhome is basically a mansion on wheels. We're talking slide-outs that turn into bedrooms, full-size kitchens, couches big enough to nap on, and storage space that could hide a small car. Some of these Class A rigs are so massive, they have second stories. Americans build RVs like they build their dreams. Supersized, open concept, and ready for the open road. After all, this is a country where you can drive 3,000 miles without hitting the ocean. Now, take that same beast and drop it into China. Suddenly, you're scraping mirrors against scooter traffic, and that 12-foot rig feels like a tank in a teacup. Chinese motorhomes are a whole different species. They're smaller, smarter, and sometimes shockingly creative. Need a bed? Fold the dining table. Want a shower? Open the closet. Every inch is engineered to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, every inch is engineered to multitask. Because in China, the problem isn't just design, it's survival on the road. Narrow streets, limited parking, and government restrictions force RV makers to think like puzzle masters. But China's learning fast. Some companies are now building export models as big and bold as any American Class C, which brings us to the next point of comparison, the chassis and platform. Building platform. Most US RVs are built on heavy-duty truck or bus platforms from giants like Ford, Freightliner, or Mercedes. These things are engineered to survive apocalyptic potholes, mountain passes, and families who think 500 miles in one day is a light drive. Underneath all that polished wood and granite is pure muscle. They are all powered by diesel engines that can pull a small house, transmissions that shrug off hills, and suspensions built to eat up endless highways. When Americans say they're taking their home on the road, they mean the entire home. But in China, the story's flipped. You won't find many Freightliners there. Instead, Chinese manufacturers often build their own integrated chassis and body. Everything's lighter, more compact, more efficient. Think nimble marathon runner, not heavyweight boxer. Domestic models use local engines and thinner materials to cut costs and stay agile on narrower city streets. These rigs aren't designed for 2,000-mile road trips through deserts. They're built for quick getaways, scenic highways, and parking lots that weren't meant for giants. Still, as Chinese RV makers eye Western markets, they're starting to build tougher, export-ready frames that rival American power. But there's still a big gap in the types of materials the Chinese and American manufacturers use on a daily basis. Building blocks. If you ever step inside a top-tier American motorhome, you'll feel like you've walked into a millionaire's condo on wheels. Real hardwood cabinets, stone countertops, leather seating, LED mood lighting, the whole 9 yards. The walls are built with layered composites, dense insulation, and soundproofing thick enough to mute a thunderstorm. Even the floor feels solid, like it could survive a stampede of grandkids. American manufacturers pride themselves on craftsmanship. They build for people who might live on the road for months, maybe years. But in this case, quality doesn't mean just comfort. It can also mean survival. Think about it. When your home shakes at 70 miles an hour, cheap materials don't just look bad, they fall apart. Now, cross the Pacific and you'll find a very different approach. Many Chinese motorhomes prioritize cost efficiency over plush luxury. Cabinets might be particle board instead of oak, walls a bit thinner, and insulation a bit lighter. Not because they can't do better, but because their buyers demand affordability first. Chinese roads are shorter, trips are briefer, and most people rent instead of living full-time. Why build a fortress when you only camp a few weekends a year? But the way things stand, the gap is closing. Chinese factories are leveling up fast, especially for export models aimed at Europe and North America. Ironically, many of the premium parts in US RVs, from wiring to faucets to LED panels, already come from China. The difference isn't where it's made anymore, it's how it's assembled and who it's built for. Different electrical languages. If you were to crack open a US motorhome and then do the same to a Chinese motorhome, you'll quickly realize they speak 2 very different electrical languages. Flip a switch, and 120 volts of pure comfort flood the cabin. You've got solar panels soaking up sun like a Vegas casino sign, inverters humming quietly in the belly, and wiring thick enough to handle a microwave, fridge, and hairdryer. And all of it is running at once. These machines are built for the long haul, for people who treat a cross-country road trip like a test of endurance, not convenience. But for the Chinese motorhomes, this picture looks different. It's leaner, lighter, and a little more modest. You'll still get your AC, but it won't cool a ballroom. The plumbing's efficient, but the tanks are smaller. The inverters work fine, though you'll think twice before running every gadget at once. Again, the keyword for Chinese builders is value. We're talking smart systems that do the job without over-engineering. And for their market, that's perfect. And speaking of markets, getting a motorhome certified for US and Chinese roads isn't nearly the same. Certification hoops. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you like the video so far. Every American motorhome, no matter how shiny or cheap, has to pass through a maze of acronyms. DOT, FMVSS, EPA, and a stack of safety and emission standards thicker than a diner menu. These rigs have to meet crash standards, wiring codes, braking systems, propane safety laws, and even the brightness of the taillights. Every screw, seal, and spark plug gets scrutinized. It's part of why American RVs are expensive, and why they don't explode when you plug in the coffee maker. In China, things run a little differently. The government has its own set of domestic standards, which are simpler, sometimes more lenient. They are tailored for smaller vehicles, local roads, and shorter travel distances. You won't find the same layers of testing or environmental red tape. And don't think for a second that this is negligent. It's just a system built for a younger, fast-growing industry still finding its footing. But when Chinese manufacturers aim to sell abroad, that's when reality hits. Suddenly, they have to rewire, re-engineer, and recertify their RVs to satisfy US or European regulators. A great example? AMC trailers were built in China, then modified for North American specs. They passed the tests, but only after serious rework. Because what's road-ready in Shanghai might still be illegal in Seattle. The ultimate test: plush recliners, quartz countertops, king-size beds, stainless steel refrigerators, and even washing machines that hum quietly. These are just some of the things American buyers expect their motorhome to have. In other words, American buyers think that if the motorhome is not comfortable enough to live in full-time, it's not worth buying. US RV buyers treat their rigs like second homes, not vacation toys. They want the freedom of the open road without sacrificing the comfort of home. And American manufacturers know it. Every button, faucet, and light switch has to feel premium, because this is a culture that measures adventure in square footage and satellite signal strength. Meanwhile, Chinese buyers feel very differently about motorhomes. Their expectations are far more practical. Most RV owners aren't retirees chasing sunsets. They're weekend travelers looking for a quick escape from the city. Chinese motorhomes focus on efficiency, affordability, and flexibility. You'll still find air conditioning, small kitchens, and cozy sleeping spaces. But the finishes are simpler: vinyl where America uses wood, compact appliances where America uses full size. It's not about excess, it's about access. The goal is to make RV travel attainable, not opulent. But all of that changes when China wants to corner some part of the international motorhome market. Export models get better materials, sleeker interiors, and upgraded amenities, all while staying cheaper than American competitors. Their labor costs are lower, their production faster, and their margins tighter. Yet by the time you add shipping, certification, and tariffs, much of that price advantage evaporates. And that's why sometimes it feels like buying American or importing is the same. Thanks for watching. Here's another video camping enthusiasts loved watching.